Did you have some trepidation before you met him then?
I had trepidation about getting too close to him and ending up discussing politics.
Right.
And I was afraid I'd get to like him and that would be a problem.
When most people remember Ricky Nelson, they picture a teenage heartthrob with a perfect voice and an easy smile lighting up the screen. But Angie Dickinson saw a very different side of him, one that few ever glimpsed. Decades after they filmed Rio Bravo together, Angie is finally opening up about what he was really like on set. Behind the familiar image of a polished star was someone surprisingly gentle, thoughtful, and kind, who could ease tension with a single song or quiet gesture. What Angie witnessed left a lasting mark on her long Hollywood career. A small but powerful connection that stayed with her for years. Let's uncover this rarely told story. Rio Bravo reunion on-set dynamics. In 1958, on the rugged backlot of old Tucson studios, Angie Dickinson and Ricky Nelson first met during the filming of Rio Bravo. The set was charged with anticipation as director Howard Hawks assembled a formidable team that included John Wayne and Dean Martin. While two fresh faces, Dickinson and Nelson were poised to make their own impact. Angie played the sharp-tongued Feathers, a role that demanded a balance of strength and humor, and Ricky took on Colorado Ryan, a character far different from his familiar boy-next-door persona. Even before cameras rolled, the crew sensed an easy camaraderie forming, one built on respect and mutual curiosity. As scenes progressed, that chemistry blossomed into something natural and engaging. Angie approached her part with poise and subtle humor, taking Hawk's guidance to heart as she learned to project authenticity into every shot. Ricky, meanwhile, gave the film a lightness that was equally compelling. Whether delivering scripted dialogue or strumming his guitar off to the side, he brought a warmth that complemented the film's tense undercurrents and allowed more serious moments to land with greater impact. That gentle energy carried into the crew as well. Ricky was never aloof or entitled, despite his already sky-high fame as a teen idol. Angie recalled that between takes, Hefton broke into song or shared a quiet smile that helped ease the pressure of long shooting days. Even John Wayne, a man who embodied rough-hewn work habits, went along with Ricky's joking interruptions. He would simply wait as Angie tried out her performance until patience and respect had been well established among them. Years later, Angie would stress how that summer on the set was a transforming experience for her. Stemmed from the easy-spirited slow pace imposed by Hawks, refining her performance was made possible with laughter provided by Ricky's spontaneous interruptions. While the camaraderie of the crew was quietly collaborative, Angie looks back on those forces as being pivotal to the long-lasting success of the film. What had begun as a routine photo shoot turned into a creative exploration, one that helped crystallize her ideas of how important and genuine interactions can uplift every aspect of filmmaking. Beyond the performances, Angie remembered the small ritual that had become part of their daily rhythm. The early morning coffee, a quiet corner for going through the lines together, and the back-and-forth teasing while waiting for setups. These little spontaneous interactions created a comforting environment in which even the roughest days could be slightly easier to bear. Angie emphasized that this spirit of togetherness touched her, teaching her that filmmaking does not have to feel like a job, but rather a chance to hang out with friends who genuinely care for one another. But there was another side to Ricky that truly captivated Angie, and it had nothing to do with the cameras rolling. Angie's view of Ricky's presence. When Angie Dickinson first encountered Ricky Nelson on the Rio Bravo set, his gentle, unassuming personality stood out immediately. Ricky had already become a household name as a singer and TV star, yet there was none of the vanity or bravado one might have expected. Angie was struck instead by his openness, noting that despite his fame, he displayed none of the aloofness that often accompanied young celebrities. That humility and genuine interest in the work made an instant impression on Angie as they began their shared scenes. Ricky's quiet presence offered a counterpoint to the larger-than-life energy of his co-stars. John Wayne could command a room with ease, and Howard Hawks was known for his careful control over every aspect of production. In contrast, Ricky often kept to himself, seated off to the side, strumming a guitar or humming Amelody between takes. His easygoing demeanor set a comfortable tone, making the set feel less like a hierarchy and more like a creative family pulling together. As the shoot went on, Angie came to admire Ricky's commitment. Even as an 18-year-old who was mostly known for his music, Ricky showed a level of focus that earned him respect. Angie noticed that he never relied on his star status and was eager to absorb every bit of advice Hawks and the veteran actors gave him. She used to often speak about his sincerity, saying Ricky cared more about getting the part right than about his image. Years in interviews after the wrap of the film, Angie would say Ricky influenced her early career. The gracious approach he took toward all, from the other actors to the crew, forever colored her understanding of professionalism. For Angie, Ricky's charm was not just surface charm. It spoke of a grounded spirit and gentle soul that was as real off-screen as it was on, and that realness stayed with her all her life. And beyond that natural instinct for charm with the cast, Angie also recalled Ricky's quiet efforts to learn during periods of downtime. When much of the crew would be taking a break, Ricky could be found studying the moves of the stunt team, conversing with the camera operators, or asking questions regarding lighting setups. It wowed Angie that instead of keeping his distance, he was curious about every aspect of filmmaking. This interest in making himself better, especially coming from someone already so famous, impressed Angie that Ricky wasn't just passing through. His heart was really into the whole craft. From co-stars to collaborative partners collaboration, Angie Dickinson and Ricky Nelson's partnership on Rio Bravo quickly moved past polite introductions into genuine creative teamwork. Even early into the shoot, Angie saw that Ricky was not content to simply repeat lines as they were written. He was collaborative, eager to explore nuances that would make their characters feel real. That collaborative spirit set them apart in a cast filled with Hollywood giants and created an easy rhythm between them that gave their scenes a natural spark. The strength of that partnership became most apparent as they shared more screen time. Hawks created an environment that encouraged actors to listen closely to one another, and Ricky rose to the challenge. Between takes, he and Angie would talk through their scenes, trade thoughts on their characters, and offer each other small adjustments. Ricky's openness to feedback and Angie's encouragement created a quiet trust that played beautifully into their dynamic. What Angie admired most was Ricky's ability to balance his light-hearted nature with true commitment. Even though he was new to feature films, he treated every scene with serious care. He never relied on any celebrity or star status to carry himself through projects, and thus would take Hawks' direction or do whatever was necessary for the sake of the movie. The resulting mix of infectious enthusiasm and serious respect for the craft made him invaluable to Angie in helping navigate their scenes. Years afterward, Angie would say the collaboration was one of the most seamless of her career. It was Ricky's gift to put people at ease without ever losing the concentration necessary to do good work, and that created a profound bond with some very pleasant memories for Angie of working with him. Even after several decades, the images of her easy smile and quiet resolve were held onto, mirrors reminding that on-screen magic often resulted from respect, shared work, and an open-minded ear to listen. It was also an instinctive generalization of Ricky toward everyone associated with the production that Angie noticed beyond their very matched work etiquette. It was not about appreciating a camera dude for a clever setup or giving comfort during a long shoot to a junior crew. Ricky's thoughtfulness reached beyond his co-stars. This habit of regarding the whole as part of the creative process deepened trust on the set and left Angie ever more convinced that Ricky was, indeed, a talent by humble and precious care for those around him. When Ricky surprised everyone. Although most people expected Ricky Nelson to simply follow the script on Rio Bravo, he continually caught everyone off guard with small, inspired choices that made his character feel more real. Angie Dickinson often recalled that Ricky would insert a glance or subtle smile into a scene where none was called for, capturing something genuine and unrehearsed. These tiny instinctive additions gave his performance a warm authenticity that set him apart. From the typical teen idol role he might have played in a lesser film, one of the most memorable surprises was Ricky's participation in the famous musical interlude with Dean Martin and Walter Brennan. Hawks invited them to play My Rifle, My Pony, and Me as a brief reprieve from the story's tension, and Ricky took to it naturally. Angie remembered that although he usually kept to himself off-camera, as soon as he picked up the guitar and joined the song, he fit right in, as though they had been singing together forever. That quiet confidence was a pleasure to watch and to work alongside. Off-screen, Ricky's surprises often took the form of quiet humor. Angie noted that he had an intuitive sense of timing, the same courtesy, regardless of their job on set. That generosity created an atmosphere of camaraderie that lasted throughout the shoot. Angie noted that Ricky had a knack for lifting spirits when the long hours took their toll. On particularly arduous days, he might pick up his guitar and hum a few tunes, or make a light joke that cut through the tension without interrupting anyone's focus. It was a subtle skill, yet one that mattered in keeping morale high and energy steady. Howard Hawks, a famously pragmatic director, also appreciated this side of Ricky. Even though Hawks rarely indulged distractions, He welcomed Ricky's good-natured breaks as part of what kept the set productive and collaborative. Angie remembers watching Ricky check in on everyone, from grips to stand-ins, going out of his way to make sure they felt seen and valued. That innate humility and quiet warmth got people to do their best work. Long after the production was closed, Angie would talk about the surprise of being influenced by Ricky on set. One of the nicer surprises of her career. While he was definitely the biggest star on the set, Ricky never acted like one. This served as a great reminder for Angie of what it truly means to lead. All these years, Angie has remembered that kind of leading, not the loud, ego-driven kind, but rather the quiet, humble approach. Ricky taught the world that a good film is made by caring for the people on the other side of the camera. And perhaps most telling was how Ricky encouraged newer crew members, still just gaining their footing on the production. Angie remembers watching Ricky engage the younger assistants and apprentices in hushed conversations, asking about their hopes, and genuinely listening to their answers. Those mini interactions of encouragement never made headlines, but they created a lasting voice that every set member mattered, a sentiment that instilled even more confidence in everyone to go out there and give their best work. Yet what truly set Ricky apart wasn't just his warmth on set. It was the surprising balance he brought to every scene. Professionalism meets playfulness. Professionalism meets playfulness. When Angie Dickinson reminisces about working alongside Ricky Nelson, one of the first qualities she brings up is his unique balance of focus and fun. Even as a teenage sensation with legions of fans, Ricky took his work seriously on the Rio Bravo set. Angie recalled that he was invariably punctual, polite to everyone, and quick to absorb Howard Hawks' directions. Despite his youth and fame, Ricky carried himself like a seasoned actor who respected the discipline of filmmaking. That serious attitude toward the craft never felt rigid. Angie noted that Ricky naturally offset the work with light, easy humor that brightened the atmosphere. Waiting for cameras to reset or the lighting crew to finish, he might pick up his guitar and play a familiar melody or quietly crack a joke that would make everyone grin. Those moments weren't distractions. They created a rhythm on set that allowed tension to ease, keeping everyone engaged without losing sight of the day's goals. Angie especially valued the way Ricky's light touch complemented her own commitment to their scenes. Whether they were tackling romantic banter or serious exchanges, Ricky showed up prepared and ready to play off whatever energy she gave him. His laid-back humor kept the relationship easy and non-forced, allowing them to delve into the new dynamics of their characters. As Angie reflected decades later, Ricky's ability to switch between play and discipline made him such a joy to work with. It is a rare skill for someone so young, and it left everyone with a unique stamp. Even all these years later, that balance remains for Angie among the most memorable qualities of Ricky, a reminder that the best collaborators can find lightness amid serious work, and in so doing, make everyone around them better for it. Above all else, Angie will remember that Ricky took every chance there was to learn on the set. After a long day of shooting, he could often be found asking quiet, thoughtful questions about technique, lighting, or camera angles. Just as impressed with Ricky's talent, Angie felt, was his eagerness to grow. He hadn't just bought into his role, he was on the way to being as complete an actor as possible. Behind-the-scenes friendship. Beyond what the cameras captured in Rio Bravo, Angie Dickinson and Ricky Nelson cultivated a friendship that was quiet, genuine, and meaningful. Angie recalled that, despite his fame as a teenage heartthrob, Ricky was approachable and kind, treating everyone on set, including her, as a peer. Between setups and costume changes, they often found a moment to talk, sharing stories about their very different paths into show business and encouraging each other through the long hours. That camaraderie was especially reassuring for Angie, who was still earning her footing among Hollywood giants like John Wayne and Dean Martin. Ricky, too, was navigating a new landscape, making the leap from television and music into the feature film world. That mutual sense of being new created a bond built on support and an easy understanding of one another's nerves. Angie spoke warmly of how Ricky never failed to check in with her and always greeted her with a warm smile or small joke. As their friendship deepened, they became each other's sounding boards on set, someone to turn to for a quick boost of morale or a candid chat away from the spotlight. Angie appreciated Ricky's gentle humor most of all, noting that his off-screen personality was even more thoughtful than the public might have guessed. It was and is on record that, decades after the event, much smaller acts of kindness and encouragement would stand out in her memory just as clearly as any scripted scene. Looking back on it now, Angie truly does consider Ricky one of the very kindest co-stars of her career. After Rio Bravo, they hardly ever interfaced professionally, but she always maintained that old memory. That off-screen relationship to Angie was a reminder that friendships formed on the set